Well, goodbye, Mr. FBI man. Sorry I couldn't be more help.
Jeez. Wonder what that was all about. Hello? What's up? Well, I just got done talking with the FBI. They said they detected a remote automatic hacking device in the area, and they needed to go through some routine checks. A remote automatic hacking device? Well, that doesn't even sound real. That's what I said. Anyway, hold out your phone. Haha! I installed a holographic transmitter on your phone. When did you do that? Right after I installed the remote automatic hacking device, of course. Why did you do that? It felt convenient. Well, what's convenient for you may just spell trouble for me. It may spell trouble for you, but personally I think it's rad. You know, because it spells rad. Okay, fine, some people pronounce it rod. But those same people pronounce GIF like GIF, so I don't trust a word they say. Okay, got it. I assume you wanted to tell me something? You've got 3 bounty hunters coming after you. Whoa, 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 why are they coming after me? I thought this was your problem. That was the game, but rumors are the mad scientist has just watched Terminator for the first time and it's given him ideas. Okay, so who are these bounty hunters? Well, I'm glad you asked, because to be honest, the whole reason I installed this holographic transmitter on your phone in the first place was to give you this little presentation. First up is Mr. Hip, self-described coolest bounty hunter ever. Why'd you stop? I just needed a second to process that. I said it how it's worded, don't blame me. Next up is Elfman. Hey, I like his film scores. Not that Elfman. Oh. This is a half-elf convict that I used to share a cell with back at the North Pole. I caught him smuggling in spiked cheer and selling it for profit. Told Santa about it, got his whole operation shut down, he's hated me ever since. And I think it's a safe bet that he escaped, because there ain't no way that elf turned nice. Yeesh. Finally, there's the Weldalorian, a masked assassin. Nobody knows his true identity, but he belongs to a creed of similarly attired, workplace-themed killers. So, what am I supposed to do here, then? I don't know, but if I were you, I'd prepare for battle. Use your skilly skills to make something. As for me, I'm gonna go check out this cave. They say there's an artifact. Toodles! Greetings. I'm Emmett. On a mission to make stuff, all that. I was told to prepare, but I don't actually know what I'm preparing for, so I'm gonna do what I do best. Procrastinate. So, some tips on procrastinating. Distract yourself from what you probably should be doing with something that seems inconsequential, but will take up a lot of time. I like to fiddle with things. Sometimes, when I have a lot of scrap foam, I also like to whittle with things. And working with EVA foam, you get a lot of little scrap pieces. A while back, I carved this scrap piece into a raptor claw, but it doesn't really look like that good of a raptor claw. Like, I want a more screen accurate version. So, I have a couple of these foam chunks. These are much thicker, just in and of themselves, but I'm actually going to glue them together. I wonder how big that needs to be. I should probably print off a picture. References are always nice. So the printer has this weird glitch where it keeps cropping things off randomly, but this is the shape that I'm going for. I just had to sketch out the rest of it a little bit. So I glued 3 pieces together. This is still very thick, but that's all for the sake of being able to whittle it down and have enough material, because it is fairly thick. Like, at these rounded end parts, like those are kind of the thickest, and it gets thinner kind of along there, so yeah, it'll look better once I start whittling it down. And once I whittle it, then I will take the Dremel and really kind of smooth everything down. So that is the Raptor claw all carved out and everything. Seems like it's about the right shape and size and everything. You know, there might be some little touches here and there that aren't exact, but it's a fossil, so there's bound to be imperfections. Now I'm gonna go over it with a heat gun, just to kind of melt and seal the surface of the foam. So for the painting, I really did let a lot of the black foam do the work for me. The browns and off-whites that I put on it really just served to try and add a dirty, crusty, fossil look. At one point, I tried to add some oil paint to try and darken it up a little more and kind of saturate it, because oil paint usually is a little more saturated than acrylic, I found. But a while back, I had a tube of oil paint that was water soluble, so you could use it with acrylic, and it dried pretty easy. But then I ran out of that tube, and when I got some more, I didn't check to see if it was water soluble, and it was not. So every time I go to use it, I forget, and then I'm using it and I'm like, oh, why is this so hard to work with? Right, it's just oil. It smears and doesn't really dry and gets my hands all, well, not sticky, just, you know, it doesn't wash off as well. I have to like really scrub with soap and everything. So I kind of wiped that off, and then in the meantime, while I was there, I was like, hey, this actually kind of helps make it look like a bone that's been cleaned up, because I just took a Scotch-Brite and then a wet rag and just tried to wipe off and polish off all of the paint that I'd put on previously, so that it looked like it had been cleaned, but it was still kind of dirty. Because when I put on the Mod Podge, I was trying to kind of stipple it on layer by layer, and then using the hairdryer to dry it out very quickly. And when you do that, and I'm not saying I entirely did this on purpose, it's just something, sometimes it happens. You know, sometimes you get lucky, and then other times you can't always control how the finish goes. But this time it worked out that it gave it a very bumpy finish. And those bumps worked in my favor because it gave it a texture for all the paint to seep into. And then wiping it off, you could see more of the black foam underneath. And now it looks like a very dirty, preserved old bone. And yeah, I had this little hook that I've been screwing in there. Mostly just for an extra handhold while I'm painting it so I don't have to get my fingers in it. But then when I went to put on the final finish, I had just a spray clear sealer that's like a glass finish. And I just like held it up like this and sprayed it. And then walked around the driveway, swinging it to air dry it in the sunshine, because that's usually the fastest way to dry that aerosol sealer. Or fastest and the cleanest, because maybe the hairdryer would be faster, but sometimes that makes it bubble up or crack if you put too much on. And I mean, cracking, that could have worked for what I wanted since it is a bone, but that would mean more work later. Like, I wanted this to be the final finish. If the sealer had bubbled or cracked or wrinkled or anything like that, that would have required more work to get it back to the finish that I wanted. But it didn't do that, so here it is. But hello?
Put 'em up. Yeah, you. Come on. Let me see those hands.
You wouldn't happen to be a Mr. Hip?
Well, that is what they call me. Ever since I was a child, I was the coolest kid around.
What are you blowing away?
You, if you don't stop pestering me. Now hand over your weapons.
Well, I don't have any weapons.
Oh, you don't, huh? What you got in your hand?
It's a raptor claw.
Put it on the table. Gently. So what's this even good for?
It's great for intimidating children.
Well, I have been called an intimidating child. Now stand up with your hands on your head. Easy peasy.
Please, Mr. Bounty Hunter, sir, would you allow me a phone call? Just one. Just to say goodbye to my family.
Could be a trick. But never let it be said that I am not a cool guy. You go right ahead.
Thank you. So merciful.
What's up?
Well, I'm here with Mr. Cool.
Mr. Hip?
Right.
How's that working out for you?
Remember when you told me to prepare?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't.
Well, I would say that's a you problem, but you're me, so we should probably figure this out.
So what exactly is this guy's deal anyway? Because he doesn't strike me as all that hip.
I mean, I know the name originated from his days in the orphanage, but I guess I could dig a little deeper. Here, hold on. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait a minute.
What is it?
Well, it's not much, but, oh. Could that? Okay. It's a bit of a risk, but listen very carefully and say exactly what I tell you.
You think you're so cool.
Why, yes, I do.
But you know what I see when I look at you?
The deadliest bounty hunter this side of the continuum?
No!
What?
I see a sad little orphan boy with a malformed femur.
What? How do you know about that?
Oh, I have eyes and ears all over the place, but I don't even need them because you're an open book. All the other children used to laugh and call you names. You were the youngest person in the entire history of that particular orphanage who needed a hip replacement. That's where you got your name from, Mr. Hip. You're not cool. You just walk funny.
No, I walk just fine. What are you talking about?
You tried to take the name back. You even changed careers to recontextualize it, but you can't change the past.
Hey, you shut up. You shut up right now.
Drop that gun. Lose those shades. You don't deserve them, you faker.
I'm sorry.
That is not at all what I told you to say.
Well, it's working, isn't it? You get on your knees when you beg for forgiveness.
Jeez, remind me never to challenge you to a battle of wits. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm gonna lose this signal if I go any further, so don't expect to call me for a while, yeah? Sounds like you can handle yourself.
Noted.
All right then. Well, time to move on. Well, with that. Yeah, you okay down there? Yeah, well, I can't exactly have you whimpering on the floor while I'm trying to work, so if you could.
Okay, I'll get out of here.
Actually, tell you what. Skelly back here is a licensed therapist. Why don't you pop off with him for a quick sesh? Get yourself feeling better. Okay?
I thought he was your bodyguard.
He protects both my body and my mind.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. You'll feel better about yourself. Trust me.
I did defeat him with a bone, just not this one.
Alright, so for my next project, I have been trying to make rings of power.
Get me the meat. Good. And give it to me raw.
Not the show. It started a while back with just some PVC pipe rings that I spray painted. I guess they'd work for like distant props, because you probably can't see all the imperfections from the camera there, but like I didn't do a very good job of sanding it and getting it even, and then now some of the paint is rubbing off. I tried to do basically just the same thing, except this time I used a metal ring, and it is halfway decent, you know? Like, again, I think for the camera, it's probably not that far off. I mean, it's a gold ring, right? It looks pretty big and thick and hefty, and it has some weight to it. You can tell it's solid when you drop it. But up close with my eyes in person, I can tell that this is still just painted. So then I started actually grinding down brass fittings to try and just make something that kind of has that golden look already. Where's the... I think I'm missing one. Let's see, how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 here. So enough for the dwarves. You know, apparently a lot of the dwarven rings got melted down and eaten by dragons. Why don't we get a show about that? The fall of the House of Durin. Anyway. This one, I started out with a certain fitting. Let's see, it was a male. So the threads were on the outside. So then I just got the female and screwed them together so that there's smooth on both the inside and the outside, and then I started grinding it down. But the problem is, once I ground it down enough, they started to unscrew and loosen up, and I had this ring that was made of 2 pieces that went together. I tried to epoxy it, and it stuck together, but you can tell that there's this epoxy ring in the middle of it. Unlike this one, which was the next one that I tried, because I had another fitting that was more just one piece, but it had so many like O-rings and things inside of it. By the time I ground down all the extra stuff, it's really thin. Like this is like my dad's wedding ring. It's not like a thick, chunky, magical ring. It's just a very thin, more practical ring. And it's probably about as thick as my dad's finger too. Like, he has meaty hands. And then this one was just kind of an extra one. It fits on my smaller fingers. It's shaped a little more, like it's not perfectly round, and I did that on purpose because I thought it kind of fit more of the finger shape. Is my right hand that much thicker than my left? It fits, oh crap. It fits on all of my left hand fingers, but it does not fit on my 2 right hand fingers. That's interesting. And then we get to the 2 finalists, which were, I finally got a fitting with enough meat on it that I could grind down the outside and the inside and get it all smooth, and it still looks big and meaty and chunky. What would happen if you wore a ring of power like this? Like, does this count as putting it on? Would I be invisible? Or would I just be able to see Sauron? I'd get to turn the tables. Oh yeah, I guess I should talk about how I sanded it down. I did some clever things. Most of the time, I just had a Dremel or a die grinder is what I did a lot of it with. But yeah, to get it round, I figured out that I could kind of make a DIY lathe by sticking it on a drill and then like drilling. that sped up the process a lot. All that really needs done to them now is the polishing, because, you know, the shape is about right. I might do a little bit more dremeling just because the Ring of Power does have very rounded edges. Yeah, it's a pretty round little thing. Trust the process, bro. So it took me a while to warm up to the polishing compound, because the Dremel kit always comes with this polishing compound, and I've never done anything with it. And I tried it at first, after I had smoothed it all out with the previous, just, you know, the dry brushes and everything. And it was kind of weird. It's this little reddish stuff. Sometimes I tried, like, rubbing it onto the metal. Sometimes I tried, like, turning on the Dremel and kind of digging into it a little bit. But then it turns black and gooey. It's this crusty red stuff that then turns to, like, oil almost once you start dremeling it. So I thought it was weird, and I couldn't tell if it was really doing anything. So I actually tried to hand sand it a little bit and thought maybe I could polish it, which was kind of a dumb idea, because, like, maybe eventually I could get there. I probably could get there, but it would take a really long time. I did go over by hand with some sandpaper just to kind of round out those edges. Like I said, the Ring of Power has a very rounded look. I don't know what the difference is between what I was doing the first time I tried, because the first time I tried it, it didn't really do anything. But I guess maybe I just didn't do it enough, because then, like, I just went at it until all the polishing compound had turned black and just the entire thing was covered in the oily stuff, and it was really hard to hold on to. And then I got a wet rag and wiped that off, and then suddenly it was shiny. It is so shiny. I mean, I could probably polish it a little more, and I can tell there are still some, like, little scratches and imperfections. You can really only see them if you, like, look up really close. But I mean, this is shiny, this is polished. I'm surprised I was actually able to get it that good. And it's starting to wear off a little bit, just from me handling it. It's a little less radiant than it was, because at first when I was just, oh, what's this gonna do, scrub? Like, it was golden, it was magical. Those are the two rings that I made. And I went ahead and made two of them just in case, like, you know, one of them messed up. But they're not done yet. Now I have to decide which one's my favorite and then infuse it with some
dark elf magic.
This one's thicker and it's still a little more square, whereas this one's thinner and it's a little more rounded. It's a little more smooth and polished. So I think we're gonna go with this one. Throw it in the fire, Frodo. It's quite cool. I don't know. I'm a little fuzzy on the recipe for dark elf magic. I just know I don't want to smoke anyone out. Maybe that's what happened. Celebrimbor was just high on fumes. This is the closest thing I have to a Elving smithing hammer. It started out as kind of a Mjolnir redesign, but then I realized what I was actually thinking of was the smithing hammer from Shadow of Mordor. So I made kind of a combination of the two. Should probably stand up for this.
That should be it.
Dark elf magic.
And now the only thing left is to try it out. I know those bells. Or do I? Elfman cometh, sir! Oh, a little dark elf magic, hmm? Well, two can play at that game. Ha-ha! Sugar high! You underestimate the power of an elf on cheer.
Well, you underestimate the power of random junk.
Calm down. I've been through this before. Very recently. I'm gonna put down the sword. Let's just talk. What's your problem?
Every high comes with a crash. Spare a little sugar for poor elf, dear sir.
I'm not gonna do that. Hey, calm down. I have something better than sugar.
Caffeine?
No.
What is this, an intervention?
Yep. And there we are. That'll keep it safe. Does this even come off around my head? No, it doesn't. See? No orc's gonna be like snatching this off my neck. Unless they cut off my head first. Well, time to give the people what they want. I'm gonna make the Troll Hunter's amulet. I already made the Ring of Power. Okay, see? This was a plan. So the key to making the amulet is this little puck light.
Now don't look directly at the potato.
My plan was to cover it in plastic. I went about dyeing some plastic, and at first
it was blue, but then I thought it was a little too transparent still, so I actually stuck it back in the dye, and then it turned green. But it's blue, like it's blue dye. Why is it green? I mean, it gets the point across, I guess. That's what I was after, but why is it green? That was kind of a waste because I think I'm gonna use this box instead. I'm gonna cut out a piece of it and use that. I wonder how much the camera is actually gonna pick up that light. But yeah, my plan was to cover this in blue plastic and then put all of the trimmings on with foam. I think the little hands of the clock mechanism will probably be popsicle sticks, because sanding down popsicle sticks usually is a little more firm than using cardboard or foam, so yeah. Just gonna be a lot of little detail work. This isn't going quite as well as I'd hoped. I mean, nothing's too bad so far. I wasn't really properly estimating the size of things. This thing is going to be somewhat disproportionate. It's going to be a lot fatter than what the Amulet actually normally looks like. And when I initially cut out some of these little pieces, I cut them like way too big, so I had to shave them down. And I actually was able to use some of my Rings of Power reject pieces for some of these inner rings that go in there. But yeah, I tried to expand the whole thing by cutting out a space there and widening it, but that actually made it out of round. I wasn't able to keep it as round as I probably could have, but I'm hoping that maybe when I put these in, like, I can kind of round it out a little more and make it less noticeable. But yeah, and I'm gonna be using super glue for a lot of this. Normally I don't use super glue on plastic because it does kind of haze it up, But this is supposed to be kind of a old magic crystal look anyway. So if it fogs over, that's not actually that big of a deal. I shaped some of these pieces so that they'll fit together a little better, because it was stacking them all up, it was seeming a little too thick, so this is a little thicker here and then thinned out there, so that it should kind of rest over there. And then this was actually just a little, like little wheel of a toy, like a toy motorcycle or something, because I searched around for a long time because I knew I would have the perfect little gizmo for like this kind of gear section, and then I did find it finally. Yeah, shoot, things keep sticking to my fingers. My original plan for the back panels was to just have a single domed piece with some etch lines cut in it, but I kept messing up on the spacing of the sections. I had a cardboard template that I was using to kind of draw them on, but first I realized that I had only allowed enough space for 5 instead of 6, so I trimmed that cardboard down and tried to cut them in a little closer together. I had to make a whole nother domed piece for that. But then I realized I made it too small and it was going to add up to 7 rather than 6. So rather than make a third piece and try my luck with another estimation, I decided to just cut out all the little wedges that I had cut previously and then just glue them on individually and kind of space them out like that. It doesn't look as close to what the show's Amulet depicts, but it does definitely get the point across. Most of the detail work was done with craft foam or popsicle sticks, which I would grind down with the Dremel and put them on piece by piece. Some of these bits are a little flimsy. I really hope that they stay on there. I put, I think, just one coat of Mod Podge on to seal it, and then spray painted it with a metallic spray paint. Painted some certain bits gold, then I sealed it with a clear coat sealer, weathered it, and dry brushed it a little. And I actually had a little bit of a last minute adjustment, you could say. So as I stacked on layer by layer, I was usually still able to click it on and off, because how that works is like the plastic in the middle is loose enough you can kind of squish it down, and even with the plastic and everything on top, I was still able to click it. But I guess just the more I put on, the stiffer it got, and just some piece was the last piece. It was the straw that broke the camel's back, and I could no longer click it. So I actually went into the inner mechanism and I reversed the switch. So you can see here I actually ground a hole in the back plate so that this is now the button. I thought it was. There we go. I think there's still an element of it where you have to kind of hold. You have to hold both buttons. There are some things that I probably could have touched up a little better if I was taking my time on it. I could have taken a little more care in making sure that everything that's supposed to be round is round. Plus, if I knew I was going to reverse the button like I did, I could have shaped it a little differently, because there are certain things that I put them together the way they did because I thought I wanted to be able to press it from the front, and that is null now. And I forgot, when I put the ring of power on a chain, I was gonna do the same thing to the Raptor claw, which, I mean, I only have the one chain right now. That's the Raptor claw. And then I was gonna do the same thing with the amulet. Where's Weldo?
Ooh. Look at that little ray of sunshine. Well, hey there, big fella. Now don't you use that tone with me, young man. I have just the thing for cave trolls and rock monsters alike. Behold the sword of daylight! How do you feel about magical samurais?
While I may be ready and willing to engage in lethal action with you, my employer would like a word first.
Employer?
Hello, regular Emmett. Or would you prefer I just say Emmett?
Well, I'd prefer you say goodbye.
Now don't be cheeky, I'm giving you a chance here.
To do what?
To preserve your bright future, of course. Older Emmett has mucked up his timeline enough as it is. Do you really want to go down with him?
So you want me to turn myself in?
Not you, him.
He's me!
That doesn't mean you can trust him. He's mad. At me specifically, but if you give him up, it will make both of our lives that much easier.
Oh, that's rich, calling him mad? You're the mad scientist.
Hey, I identify as a perfectly sane scientist, thank you very much.
So what did you do to get people labeling you mad?
I rounded up all the creative minds in the world and sucked them dry of all their creativity.
You did what now?
I drained them like batteries. Have you seen The Matrix?
No.
Neither have I. Have you seen the Lego movie?
Yes.
Human batteries! That's what I'm talking about here! I swear sometimes I'm watching a movie and I'm just like, dang, that's clever. Why didn't I think of that? Why, just the other day I was watching The Terminator. And I realized, why solve a problem now when I could just send a drone back in time to solve it for me?
Are you even hearing this?
Yes, I've already given it much thought.
Not you, Weldo. How far are you willing to go for a paycheck, man? He just called you a drone.
Ha! He can't hear you, he's been hypnotized by cartoons! Why, the only thing that could disrupt him now would be a remote automatic hacking device, or as I like to call it, a rod.
You know, I always thought it was pronounced rad.
Don't be a fool, it's rod.
Whatever you say. Or more specifically, whatever I say.
Now what is that supposed to mean?
Weldo, can you hear me?
Roger, roger.
Okay. Well, go back from whence you came. And, I don't know, slap the mad scientist in the face, I guess. Oh, flush his car keys.
Weldo will do.
Wait a minute. Before you go, you gotta pop upstairs for a quick sesh with Skelly. Let's make this 3 for 3. Whew. Sometimes primitive problems require primitive solutions. Okay. Okay. So you really made a ring of power?
Sure did.
And it works?
Oh yeah.
Prove it.
What?
What is he doing?
That is the 5th Dark Lord this month! I think there's a nest.
Well,
Hey, regular oh. He's sleeping. Hello. Huh. New shades. Sweet. Community service. Part of my rehabilitation program. The heck was that? I don't know if it was a pin or a bolt or what exactly, but something popped out of that little hole, causing this whole thing to just spring load out of there. But luckily enough, I had a metal rod, just the right size. Wonder if I might be able to peen that a little bit.
What? I wasn't doing nothing.
Peen to the other end too, just a little bit. I don't know if it's good to dry fire that. I just think it's fun because my pin worked.
Oh, you tried to take the name back. You even changed careers to recontextualize it. Recontextualize it. My sugar mixed with my sweat, and now I'm all sticky.
I'll tell you if I survive.
I don't have any weapons. I don't have any weapons. I don't have it. Certainly no one after you, Monday. Yeah, you. Come on. Let me see those hands. Or do I? Or do I? Or do I? Well, you don't know the power of random jump! Oh. Whew. Sometimes primitive problems require primitive solutions.